And in this episode, I am going to talk about the top 3 reasons you should use watermelon to detoxify your body. Um, I got a nice big bowl of watermelon here. It's my breakfast. And it is a delicious one. First watermelon I bought all year. So, a little over a year ago, it was actually watermelon that turned me into a raw foodist. Because when I was really struggling with my health and extreme chronic fatigue, I had been watching a number of raw foodists on YouTube, and they were eating just tons of fruit and tons of salads. And it was in December of 2015, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna try this whole thing. I'm just gonna try going on a raw food diet. So I went to the store, it was a Friday, I had that day off work. I went to the store and I just bought like 6 or 7 personal size watermelons and literally ate watermelon for the entire day. And immediately I felt better and I noticed an improvement in my symptoms unlike anything I had seen from any other diet or any other medication or supplement. Just from eating watermelon for an entire day, it's like I felt better in that one day than I had for months and months and months of trying so many other things. So immediately I knew, okay, I'm on to something. And as I've continued to research nutrition and detoxification and healing, I've really come to understand why it is that watermelon is such a powerful and yet often overlooked healing food. So I'm going to jump right into the 3 reasons you want to use watermelon to detoxify and heal your body. And the first is very simple, and that is the ease of digestion. So when you eat a meal, especially if you're eating a heavier meal with meat and grains and complex carbs and bread and refined sugars, your body is going to spend about 60 to 80% of its systemic energy to digest the meal. So whenever you eat a big meal, a lot of your systemic energy goes down to focus in the GI tract to process it, to absorb it, to utilize it. That's why you often get tired after you eat a big meal, because you've just robbed your body of energy that it's now having to spend for digestion. Well, watermelon in particular and other melons are basically pre-digested. And this applies to all fruits, not just melons, but it applies especially to watermelon. You're basically eating a pre-digested food. It's basically water and some insoluble fiber and carbohydrates. So it doesn't require the same level, I mean not even close to the same level of systemic energy to digest watermelon as it does other foods. So automatically, if you go on a detox program that's very high in fruit or very high in melons, you're automatically freeing up so much energy that your body is not going to have to use to digest more complex, heavy foods. So in other words, because it's so easy to digest, when you eat lots of watermelon, you're giving your body back more energy than you're asking it to expend on digestion, and therefore your body can take that extra energy and it can use it for other functions. It can use it to heal, it can use it to do house cleaning. So always, 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 when you're trying to heal, focus on foods that are the easiest to digest, and nothing comes close to the humble, delicious, juicy, satisfying watermelon, my friends. Number 2, why you should use watermelon to detoxify and heal your body, I'm gonna say, is because of something called conductivity. Now, conductivity is directly connected to the high amount of water in the watermelon. And most often you'll hear people talk about hydration, and you need to be hydrated, and you need a lot of water, and you need high water content foods. But really, if you think about what water is and why God has put so much water in the raw foods that are specifically designed for us, why has God put so much water in these foods, in the natural foods that are designed for us as a species? Because water is a conductor of electricity. Just remember this. This is like so crucial for you to understand why you need to be eating lots and lots of raw foods, and especially lots and lots of high water content fruits. Because water is a conductor of electricity. And if you think about it, the human body is really an electrical system. All right, just like you see the power lines when you're driving around, and that electricity goes through the power lines and it turns everything on in the city. Okay, your body has an electrical system as well. And this is called essentially your nervous systems. And you have different types of nervous systems, and central nervous system and sympathetic and parasympathetic. I mean, it's more complex, but if you just think about it in simple terms, your nervous system as a whole, this is your electrical system. This is how your body generates movement and performs all its functions. These are functions that are performed by the nervous system, which I like to call the electrical system. So if we are an electrical system, just think about it. We need hydration and foods that are high in water content in order to generate the conductivity to have electricity, to have that electrical charge going through our bodies. And I'm telling you, when you go on a high fruit diet, a high raw food diet, there is an energy, an electrical charge, a conductivity that you will feel at times going through your body that is so powerful and so dynamic. It's like nothing you've ever experienced before, because most people are relying on stimulants for energy. They're relying on caffeine and energy drinks and even meat and dairy and the hormones and the adrenaline. It's very stimulating. So their body is not conducting its own electricity because they're eating foods that do not have the high water content and the hydration that creates that conductivity, that electrical charge. Just remember, water is a conductor of electricity. If you take like a pool of water and you put an electrical socket in it, it's gonna boom, it's gonna like energize and electrify all of the water, you know, it's gonna expand. But if you were to take like a piece of wood and put an electrical socket on top of it or something, or you know, it's more dense, chemically dense. Wood is not going to be a conductor. So sometimes people ask me, you know, about different foods, and they say like, can I eat this? Can I eat that? I'll give you an example, like sweet potatoes and rice and beans and nuts and seeds. And it's like, yeah, these foods might be healthier than a lot of alternative foods that people are eating. But at the most fundamental level, you have to understand that you are an electrical being. And so in order for your nervous system and all your organs and glands to function adequately, you need the electrical charge. And the only thing that can really give you the electrical charge is the high water content foods. So rice and potatoes and too many nuts and seeds and meat and dairy, these foods do not contain the living water. There's a reason God has put the living water in the living foods, because the water is a conductor of electricity. So these foods, the high water foods, watermelon, this conducts electricity in your body, and it's going to turn everything on, and it's going to give you a dynamic oomph, a get up and go. It's going to turn on the organs and glands and give you that energy that you need. So we got ease of digestion, we've got conductivity, and number 3, watermelon is a simple sugar. So I'm going to talk for just very briefly about simple carbohydrates versus complex carbohydrates, because there's a lot of confusion out there. So when you're eating a fruit, you are eating what's called a monosaccharide. It's a simple sugar. When you're eating other carbohydrates, grains, potatoes, rice, things like this, you're actually eating what are called complex carbohydrates. And simple sugars from fruits, even though you might think that a fruit is sweeter tasting than like rice or a potato or something, when you actually look at the chemical structure of the carbohydrates, fruits are the most simple form of carbohydrate that you can consume and put into your body. And so what that means is whatever is in its most simple form is going to be the easiest for your body to break down and metabolize. And there are a number of different organ systems and glands that are involved in the metabolism of sugar. And so what people don't understand is it's not just like, oh, fruit is sweet, so it has too much sugar and you shouldn't eat it. No, fruit is actually simple sugar. So this is the sugar, the carbohydrates, that's the easiest for your body to break down and metabolize. And part of how your body metabolizes sugars is from the adrenal glands that sit on top of your kidneys. So anyone who's dealing with any type of chronic fatigue or adrenal insufficiency or adrenal fatigue, you know, something I've been battling for years, often you'll see people who have adrenal gland issues and they're told they shouldn't be eating fruit for some strange reason, but instead they should be eating complex carbs. Well, your adrenal glands are what's responsible for helping to break down and metabolize sugars. So the more complex the sugar, and when we talk complex sugars, we're talking about the chains of carbohydrates that are linked together. So the more complex the chain of carbohydrate is, the harder it is for your body to utilize. And again, that goes back to point one about digestion, although it's a slightly different angle when you're talking about metabolism. So I don't want to confuse you guys too much, but just remember, simple sugars are the easiest for your body to metabolize and to utilize as energy. So if you have any type of fatigue or any type of health issue, and I can pretty much guarantee you, if you're waking up in the morning and you're relying on coffee to get yourself going, if you're having afternoon dips around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I can pretty much guarantee you that you have weak adrenal glands and that your body is going to struggle to metabolize and break down complex sugars. So that's why you want to be focusing on foods that are in the simplest form possible. This is simple sugar. Even though it tastes sweeter than like a bowl of rice or a potato or other carbohydrates, it's a little bit counterintuitive, because when you eat this, your body, your adrenal glands, your organ systems actually say, oh, thank you, you just gave me the simplest form of carbohydrate that I can metabolize and utilize in the easiest way possible. But if you go and eat a bunch of bread and pasta and things like that, you're giving your body complex sugars, much harder to break down, much harder to utilize and metabolize. So fruit is the king of all foods, my friend, and watermelon, as it's coming into season in the spring and the summer, is a great food to add to your healing and detoxifying protocol, because it is easy to digest. It is going to give you the highest conductivity and amount of energy in your organs and glands, and it is very easy to metabolize the simple sugars for energy that your cells run on to perform all their functions. So eat your watermelon, detoxify with watermelon, experiment with it. I'm gonna give a piece to the raw food dog here. Come here, boy. He loves his watermelon as well. God bless you guys. Always remember, avoid the propaganda. Do not fall into the propaganda that fruit is bad for you, that it has too much sugar. This is the highest healing potential on the planet right here, is the simple fruits of the earth that God has created to cleanse, heal, detoxify your body. I wish you the best. I wish you health. Thank you for bearing with me on this video. I'm trying to keep these short and concise, but trying to also give you the information that you need. to achieve your health goals. Peace out.